behalf of the Chamber, we thank you for joining us today, and we welcome you to our Power Lunch event. Part of our mission at the DeKalb Chamber is to support you, our business members, and our local economy by providing education and connection. Our membership committee works to support this mission by hosting several events each year, including this event, the Power Lunch Series. Throughout this lunch series, you can expect to hear from our community leaders, heads of our educational institutions, and workforce development organizations, along with our local elected officials and small business experts. We hope you will leave each Power Lunch more informed about DeKalb County and armed with knowledge that will help you run your business, and we hope you will share this information with others. This Power Lunch is co-hosted by the Chamber's Education and Workforce Development Committee. The Education and Workforce Development Committee develops partnerships with educational institutions and workforce development organizations in DeKalb County and Georgia to strengthen educational opportunities for the region and helps us build a strong workforce, making DeKalb County an attractive location for businesses and industries. One of our partners in WorkSource DeKalb, and I am honored to introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Robert Davis, Deputy Director for WorkSource DeKalb. Robert is a retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, where he served as a navigator bombarder and on the B-52G and the B-1B and numerous leadership evaluation training positions. And as we can see, our speaker today has a great background in the military, but also we'll see even more as he speaks this afternoon about WorkSource and the partnership that we have with them here at the Chamber. Yes, Robert himself, after 26 years in the Air Force, he ventured into the financial service industry for 4 years. He led Savannah's business retention and expansion efforts for 6 years and guided the District of Columbia's WorkSource Workforce Development Outreach, Work Opportunity Tax Credit, Rapid Response, and its infrastructure career development mission. For a year and a half, Robert did these things. Now, it's great that we have him because he brings all of this to DeKalb County. Rob has been WorkSource DeKalb's Deputy Director, focusing on workforce development and serving the residents and business community of DeKalb County for the past 3 years. It's so great that we have Robert Davis here with us, and it's so great that we have Robert Davis with us here in DeKalb County as a partner with us in WorkSource Development. Please welcome Mr. Davis to the stage.
Blow your air horn and throw a wave to the lighthouse keeper's kid on Thatcher Island. Guys are busy, you're in charge. You know what? You're a swordboat captain. Can't be good unless you love it. Going back out.
What?
I'm headed east. The Flemish Cap.
You're going away again?
Flemish Cap is almost off the charts.
That's where the fish are.
For God's sake, don't go. Another trip and the Andrea Gale will own you, like she owns Billy Tyne.
I got a woman I can't stand to be more than 2 feet away from. Then again, I love to fish.
Oh! Keep them coming, boy! We got another 5,000 pounds up here! Yeah!
Oh my God. Where are you?
Tail of the banks, kicking up something wicked here. Where are you?
Going in.
What the hell are you trying to prove? Come on, you seen the forecast?
I got $250,000 worth of fish.
Weather's been spitting faxes every hour. They're running out of scary words.
It's being called the worst storm in recorded history.
Hurricane Grace is accelerating off of Sable Island.
Once it starts, no force on Earth can stop it.
These storms have collided. You're gonna run right into this thing.
Are they okay? No one knows.
Please, God, get them there.
Call it the perfect storm.
She's coming on, boys. She's coming on strong.
We're here for you guys.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rob Davis, Deputy Director of WorkSource DeKalb, and I am happy to be here today. One thing I want to say, WorkSource DeKalb, we are here for you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the DeKalb Chamber for inviting me to present during today's Power Lunch. To Power Lunch, when Mr. Frankie Atwater called and asked me to be a part of this process and this program, I said, for sure. I was ecstatic, and I'm looking forward to talking with you all for a few minutes about how the perfect storm has hit the business community. During today's agenda, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to dissect the business community's perfect storm. We're going to talk about growth options and available resources. And one of those available resources that you have is WorkSource DeKalb. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to dissect it, what's going on recently. So pre-pandemic and current skilled labor shortage. Right now, we're aware that we are in a labor shortage, and we have demand versus supply. But it didn't just happen. It happened prior to the pandemic. We're going to talk about the pandemic also. Fear of the unknown in the business community. Governmental economic support. Supply chain imbalance. These all played a role. And then, of course, no one can forget that we're in the Great Resignation, also known as the Big Quit. So we're going to talk about job openings versus unemployed, where we are today. As you can tell from the chart, openings, approximately 10 million jobs. And what you have in the unemployment, this is for the US, 6.3. Now let's talk about Georgia's labor force. We have 5,200,000 where we have residents. Employed, 5,084,000, and then unemployed, 123,000 with a 2.6 unemployment rate. Let's get closer to home. DeKalb County, for our labor force, our workforce, 405,000, employed 394. As you can tell, unemployed, neighborhood of 10,000 with a 2.8% unemployed rate. So as you look on this chart, you can see how when the pandemic came to be in February of 2020, how the unemployment rate spiked. And US-wise, it was over about 22 million. And then things are starting to gradually get better when we talk about unemployment. Speaking of unemployment, this is just another graph that's showing just how everything worked out. And you can see how things were prior to the pandemic. So right at the end of December of 19, you can notice we were down in the 3.9 area. This is the US. Also, you can see initial claims starting from January 21st until about today, how things are going down there. So they're progressing nicely. Again, DeKalb in that neighborhood of 2.6, and that's flipped. It should have been DeKalb is 2.8 and Georgia is 2.6. Pre-pandemic versus current employment rates. What you have, there was 152 million on payrolls in the US. And as you can tell from the other chart also, in the neighborhood about 22 million individuals applied for unemployment between March and April of 2020. But things are getting better. That's the one thing I want to make a point of, to say that things are getting better, but there still is a workforce struggle going on with demand versus supply. Now, what caused all of this? As we just finished discussing, we discussed that prior to the pandemic, we were already in a shortage. What we look at now, we can look at the pandemic data. The pandemic has really taken a toll on the US. Over 890,000 individuals have died. 75 million individuals have contracted the coronavirus. Then in the state of Georgia, as you can tell, there are 2,378,000 confirmed cases with 33,000 deaths. And then We'll get to DeKalb County. And DeKalb County, we had 138,000 cases and about 1,482 deaths. So we just talked about workforce, unemployment. We talked about the pandemic. Other things that come into play are the fear of the unknown. Businesses just not knowing, especially during the last 2 years, the business just didn't have an idea which way they're going to go. What should they do? In addition, you had governmental decisions that were made to use to mitigate the effects of the coronavirus, and they played a role on that business, whether it was economic stimulus, loans, things of that nature. Then all of a sudden, something came up called supply chain imbalance, where now businesses are ready to go, ready to operate, but now supplies are limited. What I'm gonna do now, there was this episode on 60 Minutes on this recent January the 9th. We were all caught up in the football, but I took a few minutes and it caught my eye, and then I had to go back to football. So about 10 minutes of this, and it's very interesting, and it's talking about how and where and what do we need to do to get out of this perfect storm of demand versus supply when it comes to work. So the one thing I got out of that episode, in between those football games, I said, I'm gonna make sure that I look at it again, and I looked at it again, and I looked at it again. And all I could do was put my hand up and say, what does that tell us? And that tells us to be successful, things are going to have to change, and things are changing. Not dramatically, but things will progressively change to grow your business. So right now, I'm gonna talk about U.S. employment growth in October versus December of 2021. In October, this is just a slide showing the jobs 1 month net change. As you can tell, and it goes right along with the episode, leisure and hospitality jobs have grown 164,000 jobs. And just this is U.S. data. I'm showing a lot of U.S. data, but DeKalb County in the state of Georgia in the U.S., we all together, and it's very similar. As you can tell, professional business services, manufacturing, then down to healthcare. One thing that's to note, in October, 73,000 government jobs were lost. Now let's move to December. Something very similar. The numbers were a little less, but still there is growth in the market. Leisure, professional business services, manufacturing, construction, and then the government numbers have slowly getting a little better. So what I'm going to talk about is the forecasted change in Georgia employment by industry sector. And this information comes from the Georgia Department of Labor. And one thing I like to note is in the upper right chart, in the upper right corner, is talking about healthcare and assistance, expecting that to grow 24%. Additionally, information, educational services, and so forth. So this was very interesting. The Georgia Department of Labor did a study as from 2018 to 2028. This is what expected growth. One thing I'm going to talk about, continuous business transformation from the 60 Minutes episode. What's going to happen? We're all going to have to adapt. President Kennedy, change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past and present are certain to miss the future. How true. So let's go back, way back. Some people may be too young to remember some of these businesses, but hopefully businesses going forward don't wind up on the same path. Do you remember the days you used to drive up and drop your 35 millimeter film off to a little box in the middle of a parking lot? Days are gone. SIM cards and cell phones. And I remember the days of going to Blockbuster Video, how nice they were to you if you turned your video in at 12:02 after they added that extra day. Blockbuster Video, gone due to streaming. I love music. This is Tower Records. Just couldn't keep up inventory, CDs, things of that nature. My kids love toys. That was one of our highlights, to take the kids to the mall, walk through the stores, Toys R Us. Between the big boxes and the online, Toys R Us couldn't keep up. So give everybody about 10 seconds to see where I'm headed now for transformation. Back in 1994, a young man left Wall Street, headed to Washington State, and had an idea of starting a business. Started out as an online retail distribution center. 1997, it went public, initial public offering, $54 million. That was the valuation of the company. Here it is now, 2022, $1.5 trillion. You guessed right, Amazon. So the purpose of this slide was to show complacency, not taking advantage, not realizing the future, did not take the opportunity to change. One individual that went along started out as an online bookstore retailer, now one of the mega businesses in the world, whether it comes to streaming, whether it comes to distribution, cloud, so forth and so on. So here you are now. You're sitting there pondering, what should you do? So your business growth options are, I can just do nothing. The status quo. May be a good idea, may not. No one will know. That's between your business. Transform your business, it's saying mode, but it's an L missing, model, your business model, which would include employee inclusion, that being making the employees more part of the business, more part of the growth of the business. Same with that diversity, not just in male, female, race, but diversifying your business. You're going to need a nimble and agile workforce, not necessarily talking about working remote or hybrid or on site, but your workforce has to be agile, nimble, and be able to be flexible to meet the needs of the business. Take advantage of technology and innovation. We have to do that. One thing also, additionally, need to upskilling of employees and automation. And do not ever forget to utilize your available resources. Take a few minutes to talk about resources that are available to you. One thing as businesses and business owners or individuals in the business community, you didn't get there from nowhere. You have a fearless business-oriented instinct. Continue to push forward with that. Take advantage of the DeKalb Chamber. Take advantage of your workforce development agencies. You have government agencies, small business development centers, academia such as Georgia Piedmont Technical College, Clayton State, so forth and so on. Of course, University of Georgia, Georgia Tech. Then you also have independent training individuals also. So community-based organizations. And don't forget WorkSource DeKalb. Let me tell you, I'm gonna take a few minutes and talk about WorkSource DeKalb. We're funded by the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. That act was designed mainly for businesses. It was designed to create a workforce to support the needs of business. We at WorkSource DeKalb, we serve job seekers in the business community of DeKalb County. We go by a tagline, connecting talent with opportunity. What we do is upskill the labor force in an effort to support a viable workforce. So take a few seconds and go over some of our programs. We provide job seeker services, in essence, direct placements, training. We train individuals to meet the needs of the business community and meet the needs of the job seeker. Have a tool that we use called Work Experience. Doing Work Experience, and a job seeker comes in and may not want to go into a formalized training, but may want to go straight to on-the-job type training or on-the-job type training, where they work in a business, where they shadow, gain that experience, that work experience at no cost, to the business owner. In essence, WorkSource DeKalb, funded through Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, pays that individual to work and gain work experience at your organization and so forth. Let's talk about business services. There are a few. We have our incumbent worker training, where we will partner with you to fund the training that you feel that your staff would need to grow your business, to stay viable in the workforce. We also have customized training, where training is designed, where we fund training that is designed specifically for your business. We support you in job hiring events. Also, in case there's a time when you may have a drawdown of your staff or layoffs, then we provide rapid response activities where we assist those individuals, those employees that would be transitioned from your business, helping them to have a smooth and seamless transition to another occupation. Some online resources that are available to you, and the data where I got the data from was the United States Department of Labor, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And that website is full of data that tells you all the way down to the county level. Also, maybe some of it down to the census tract. The Georgia Department of Labor website has so much information that I'm sure everyone will be able to use it and gain knowledge from it. Then, of course, do not forget WorkSource DeKalb. Our website is WorkSourceDeKalb.org. Can't be any simpler than that. WorkSourceDeKalb.org. When you go to WorkSourceDeKalb.org, this is the page that pops up, and we have information available there. And then, if all else fails, take the opportunity to call me, Rob Davis. My information is there on the left. And then our business services supervisor, Mr. Anthony Sims. I'd like to take this opportunity now to answer any questions.
Well, Robert, we truly thank you for being with us today. This was very nice, very informative. One thing that we captured, I can say I captured, I know our audience did as well, is that, we talked about our annual meeting last week. We talked about embracing innovation, that companies have to really be more innovative now. This pandemic, taught everyone a lesson about that. I mean, you gave some nice examples in your slides about change, and that how businesses have to be nimble, and be flexible, and be willing to make the changes to accommodate employees. In the past, it wasn't so much that. And in one sense, you see why a lot of unions were created, during the Industrial Revolution. But then you also provided some nice slide examples of companies that were impacted, by inventions and things, because these companies were not willing to make a change. Some of those went out of business, but there was one that was willing to make a change, to conduct business and deliver services, and that was Amazon, and they're very successful now. So there were some nice examples for our businesses this afternoon, something they can look at and try to drive innovation and look at ways in which they can be nimble and flexible when it comes to hiring employees. And that's why we have you here this afternoon. WorkSource DeKalb. I mean, you have the answers to a lot of what our businesses are trying to accomplish today in this work environment. So I have a few questions for you, and I know our audience will enjoy these. We're going to continue to dive deep into this. But what do you see? What do you see as short-term and long-term workforce implications of the COVID-19 pandemic on DeKalb County or the state of Georgia workforce?
Okay, I'm an investor. So, when you're an investor and you have peaks and valleys. So then what I see right now is we're at the point now where things are starting to bottom out, meaning that things now are going to turn and start getting better. So when you're saying, I'm not Dr. Fauci, but we do see that through all of our safety and mitigation efforts, that we're becoming a safer society and knowing how to work in a pandemic environment. And the pandemic eventually is going to turn into an endemic. So we're looking good there. I think businesses are adapting. Okay. Businesses are realizing what they need to do, because the first rule of business is to stay in business. So they're determining exactly what needs to be done during this current environment. So I think things are going to be better.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, what I'm seeing as well in my meetings with our local businesses in DeKalb County and some of the discussions that we've had, COVID-19 definitely, yes, it has provided it. It's definitely it's impacted our business industry. Looking at short term, some businesses have to make some immediate changes. And we think about the 60-minute video that we watched and what was spoken about when it came to hospitality, restaurants. Some of them, they were truly impacted when things shut down. Then they have to try and open up and move things in a position or in a way where that it creates opportunity for them. And they've done that. And hopefully here at the Chamber, we can provide some of those short-term and long-term workforce benefits along with you as a partner. And I think even as long-term, I think when we start looking at long-term implications of this, we can help our businesses move through this and be more resilient and get to that endemic, if you will, in helping DeKalb County and our state of Georgia workforce. So I love this partnership. I am familiar with WorkSource. I'm so ready to continue partnering with you, Robert, because I know there's some great things and some great ideas that you have that we can bring to the table to help DeKalb County. So I got another question for you. And this question is industry specific. So which industry area do you see the greatest impact of COVID-19? And has there been any amendments to the WIOA to help address this?
I can't speak to which industry has had the greatest impact, because all industries have been impacted. But funding-wise, fundings have been provided for individuals. It's called the National Dislocated Worker Grant. And under that grant, funds were provided for individuals to go through trainings and or those work experience and getting market rate paid during those employment type opportunities. Say for an example, where you were working, some individuals may be working with the CDC, some working with organizations, senior citizen organizations, to ensure that COVID doesn't spread. Jobs that may not originally been there and then really not after COVID is over, the jobs may not exist. Those jobs may not exist, but if those employees may have the opportunity to stay on with that organization. So the funds in the National Dislocated Worker Grant was set up for those work experience opportunities to assist those individuals. Also, for training opportunities, whether individual after they were unemployed, become what they call a dislocated worker. We at WorkSource DeKalb, we work with youth, individuals that are 16 to 24, adults. We'll just consider that to almost be long-term unemployed. And then the dislocated worker, we'll say recently unemployed. So in this case, the National Dislocated Worker Grant was focusing on providing employment opportunities that may not occur normally just due to the financial situation of that business. So WorkSource DeKalb through WIOA would pay for those individuals to work in those businesses as long as they were COVID related, COVID mitigation, things of that nature. Additionally, I want to just discuss, that was just for the National Dislocated Worker Grant, but day to day, we provide work experience opportunities for individuals that they don't have a stipulation of being COVID related. So individual, let's say talking to the business community out there now, you may want to have an individual that's, let's say customer service oriented. What we do, as I said, our tagline was to connect talent with opportunity. We'll have an individual, we will fund that individual to work in your organization. Of course, the goal in the non-COVID grant is to hopefully that individual would be so impressive, and then you overshadowing that person would learn so much that you would want to keep that individual on. But during that 12 to 16 week time frame, we would pay for it. Okay. The one thing I do not want to leave out is our CEO, Michael Thurman, through the grants that came down from the federal government, had plans and programs that went out that provided funding assistance to DeKalb County residents as needed.
All right, I think that's great. Now, hopefully, our businesses were able to hear those points and how they could, a lot of them use a lot of resources to train employees, but those qualified employees under your program, they can reach out to you and get that paid for.
And you're exactly right. I want to piggyback on that again. So, I briefly skimmed through what I call the Incumbent Worker Training Program. Let's say you have a business and your business needs to upgrade and you decide to get some new equipment. Now, the cost for you to train your that decision and the cost for you to train your new staff could be a decision that we can help you with, because you don't want to have equipment that's going to keep you modern, up to date, innovative, but then your staff is not able to use the equipment. And now that's a burden on you. And then that makes you decide, well, I'm not going to get the equipment. Working with WorkSource DeKalb, we can work with your organization, assist you in funding that training. And along with, let's take for an example, one of our partners, Georgia Piedmont Technical College, they may provide training opportunities. They will coordinate with the business, and then we provide the funding that will go along to train those participants, to include the wages that it would, when, it's going to be a cost reimbursement, but some of the wages that were used, we would be supporting and paying for that also.
See, that's excellent. That's what our businesses really need to continue to hear that. Now, hopefully they get a chance as we post this on on a YouTube site, on our website, that they get a chance to go back and review this and hear that from you. I mean, that's really helpful, especially during this pandemic, or hopefully I can start saying one day post-pandemic period.
Exactly. And I want to just chime in there. We call it the fireside chat now. Okay. So what we're sitting here, when we're talking about what WorkSource DeKalb can do for you, what WIOA can do for you when it comes to the business community. We've already talked a few minutes about work experience, 12 to 16 weeks, place an individual in your organization where they will shadow you, they will learn, and you may hire them. We just talked about incumbent worker training. You want to grow your business, expand your business, but through automation or whatever, but you need to train your staff. We'll fund that also. So we have numerous ways that we can help you. Let's say you have a hiring event. We have a mobile unit that we can park right there, can assist you if you are a small business and you need assistance in hiring a job fair or hiring fair. We can assist you there. We have a team that's ready every day. Also, let's say, as I stated before, rapid response. Well, rapid response, because you just don't want to have a situation where you lay individuals off and you just neglect them. This is our rapid response team in coordination with the Georgia Department of Labor. We come to your facility right now. We come to you virtually, but we can come right on site and let the individuals know, the individuals that are going to be transitioned from your organization to another, so we can assist them there also.
Excellent, Robert. Great information. I got another question. I'm watching my time, making sure we're good. So this next one is focusing on workforce and higher education. So are there any state bills that we can support that prioritize education and workforce development initiatives?
I don't know of any of them at this time. Did a little research on that the other day. So I haven't heard of any, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. But like I was stated before, WorkSources, there are 19 organizations just like ours out through the state, and our funds come from the U.S. Department of Labor, and so we're federally funded.
All right, great. We'll keep an eye out for it too and stay in touch. I know we have I always call it the chamber family. We have a big family here in Georgia. So if there's anything that will impact workforce,
One thing I would like to chime in is we at WorkSource DeKalb always chime in, and I'll say we're here to support the residents and the business community of DeKalb County, which is exactly right, those job seekers and the business community. But the one thing, our team, eventually, when the pandemic subsides a little more, we're going to get out into the field and we're going to be reaching out and touching as many businesses as we can. Okay.
Perfect.
And the business that we don't, if you on this presentation, hopefully you got our information, but I'll go ahead and chime it out one more time. We're 404-687-3400. That's WorkSource DeKalb. 404-687-3400. 888-888-3400, or you can just go online to WorkSourceDeKalb.org. We're here to assist you as you grow your business.
All right, excellent. And you got right into my last question, is really looking at who can our business community reach out to when they have a need for employee training or support?
Rob Davis. Come on down. As a matter of fact, we have funds, we get funds annually to do just that.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you, Rob. I'm looking for some questions from the audience, and I don't see any at this point. I think we covered a lot and did a great job in covering some of the points from WorkSource Georgia. I enjoyed the 60 minutes video and your introductory about the perfect storm. It truly was a perfect storm, but we'll get through it together. So we thank you, Robert and Mr. Davis and WorkSource Georgia for being here present with us for our Power Lunch series this afternoon. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, and at any time.
Excellent. Well, thank you, sir. And so I want to thank everyone here this afternoon who was able to attend our Power Lunch series, attending today and supporting the Chamber in our community. We hope you truly enjoyed the Power Lunch series, and we wish you this opportunity to enjoy the rest of your day. And if you have any questions, please, we have a new website. You can visit our new website and look at some of the information we have available. Our goal in developing this website was to make it easy for you to navigate. And then if necessary, reach out to our partner organizations as well. So please enjoy your day, and we invite you to our next Power series here at the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.